Alright, I'm back with another Suicide Squad video. I am going to try and condense my day 2 thoughts here to join my day 1 thoughts in terms of how I'm feeling about the game now that I am almost done. I think I'm almost done. Without spoilers, I've killed a few members of the Justice League as requested by Amanda Waller. And given the 9 to 10 hour stated playtime of the main campaign, I'm at like 13 hours right now, but that is only because I am running out and doing all the base people side missions that they give you for like more upgrade options and whatever. Like, you don't really need the stuff now, but it's probably just something I might as well get out of the way before Endgame and breaking up campaign missions a bit. I'm still pretty mixed on it. Some things have gotten better, some things have stayed the same. I really do think that you can really see the production value in this game. You can see why it took this long. You can see why it cost so much. What they've done here with like the story, with how many cutscenes they have, with the facial capture animation tech here is stunning. It is really, really fantastic. Probably one of the best I've seen in any story game. The script is perhaps less fantastic. There are an increasing amount of funny moments here. I think Harley and Boomerang in specific are very funny, very well written. All the voice work is very good. It's hard not to compare it to, the Suicide Squad movie we watched a year and a half ago or 2 years or whenever it was. And it's just never going to be that level of funny. So it's often like trying to be funny and only actually being funny like 20% of the time. I am not really running into anything unexpected with the story. Just even forget spoilers, like marketing alone, I'm just not really being surprised by anything that happens. Oh, you're assigned to kill the Justice League by Amanda Waller. She sucks and is annoying and always threatens to kill you. You kill the Justice League people, and that's all I'm at. Like the rest, like the exact way you exploit their weaknesses or whatever are one thing, but I think the one most surprising thing to me is like something that is very against how the comics work for one particular character's power, but I won't get into spoilers there. In terms of how the rest of the game feels, it's interesting. The more time I've put in with all the characters, the better I've gotten at traversal overall. It's just a matter of, it's very strange to me to make this decision to make all the character kits so uniform, and like a lot of them are just cosmetically different in a way that I don't think feels very good. I'd say 80% of the way characters feel different from one another is traversal. And you're using traversal to get from point A to point B in the map, and you're using it in combat, except you're just, half of it is like just doing your move to jump over the top of a shield and then land down, or run up the side of a building and get on the top of the building and kill enemies there, and that's it. And in terms of actual combat, it's very strange how little is different. Like, you're all using the same guns, which fine, a lot of class games do that, but I'm a third of the way down the talent trees now. It's stuff like the node I just unlocked for Harley is like 15% more damage mitigation. Like, okay, like these are not exactly like transformative things where it's making these classes feel super unique. And at least right now, from what I'm seeing, a lot of this gear is not like class dependent. It's like, oh, I got a legendary Harley bat, and oh, I got legendary Deadshot guns, and oh, they do the same thing. Like, it's the same effect, and very few things I've seen seem to play directly into your character's powers. Grenades are the same. Your melees, even though Deadshot and Boomerang have ranged melees, Harley and Shark have more up close melees, but they serve all the same functions with armor breaking and all the stuff they trigger. So they're fundamentally the same. So really, it's traversal and then one super mechanic, and that's essentially it. It is probably the least diversity between classes I've seen. And then there's the matter of just there's so many of these missions repeated where it is the same. Do things on 3 or 4 rooftops. It is defend the points, capture the points, transport the people from the points to the safe spot, guard the plants on the points, escort the car, which periodically stops, and then enemies appear on 3 rooftops. It's just all very similar, and the only thing that's not similar are the big Justice League boss fights, which are these big set pieces. Those are pretty good. Not 100% amazing, but pretty good. But everything else, even, those are the side missions, but also like the non-boss fight campaign missions, they're pretty much the same thing. I think in all this time, all these hours so far, the only one I can kind of think being different was when you had to fight this big walking cannon thing. Like, it was slightly different mechanically just because there was a big cannon thing there, but it wasn't quite a boss fight. It's a little strange. And I'm really doubting the potential of this game to really hook people long term as a live service and something they want to grind out. I know you do unlock a lot of stuff as you hit endgame, and so there will be some sort of a transformed experience there. But to me, it doesn't matter if gunplay feels good and snappy and like the chaos is kind of fun. If you have enough of a limited array of activities that all sort of feel the same, just with different objectives, different timers. These ones have modifiers where it's like, oh, you can't kill any enemies except with grenades, or you can't kill any enemies with just critical hits. Like you just have to only do crits. None of these are particularly fun. I just think they understand that their things feel so similar that they have to like throw stuff in there to make gameplay a little different. Um, so between the activities feeling the same and then the combat kits of each character's really feeling the same a lot of the time, it's a repetitive exercise that I don't think feels great, even if the fundamentals of movement and gunplay and grenades and whatever are pretty fun moment to moment. Uh, I'm not. I haven't really wrapped my head around loot yet. Like they did this thing where they don't have a gear score, so you like can get loot and use it forever. But like it's also really weird because like I got legendary loot in the first couple of missions. Like on Harley, I got this SMG. I don't know if everyone gets this, but an SMG that has a 50% crit chance, and I think like reloads itself on critical kills or something. Which haven't found anything better than that in the last 8 hours. So at least in terms of like how the campaign handles loot, it's a lot different than kind of I was imagining. Like it is a very non-traditional looter shooter experience, and like I get that gear score can be bad, and like throwing away old weapons for new weapons is can be frustrating. It sometimes those progression systems are in place for a reason, and here I don't really even know what progression looks like per se. Again, the end game may change this around. I wish this would happen like over the course of the campaign when like I don't really think it is. I don't really even understand the skill trees because I keep getting like there's three skill trees and I keep getting points like across the list. Like it seems like it's supposed to be like Borderlands type skill trees, but I just don't really quite understand the system because I'm just sort of slowly going down all of them. I feel like I'm doing something wrong, but I don't know. I just don't understand like what the deal is with that yet. But again, we'll save it for Endgame. Uh, I, Overall, I'm pretty concerned about how this is going to play out for Rocksteady. I think reviews are starting to trickle in. I've seen a couple of eights. It feels like no one is going to really like this as much as the Arkham trilogy in terms of both how Arkham played, how you felt like Batman, quote unquote. Like the Arkham games are beloved for a reason. The stories are beloved. Outside of this being sort of funny sometimes, I don't think most big DC fans are really going to love this story. So that aspect's gone. And then, but fans of looter shooters, like myself, I feel like they're going to be kind of confused as to how this game works compared to other ones and the type of content you're going to be asked to do to really, put in work for the end game and kind of the what you're actually working toward. Won't make a full judgment until I'm really in the end game, but I've heard from people that are there, and it's a mix of like, oh yeah, it opens up a bit, and like, you're just doing these same two mission types on escalating difficulty over and over again, and it takes forever to make mastery progress, which is like the end game upgrade thing. And I'm just not getting a sense that I got with even Anthem or Avengers, where Anthem felt immediately like it was doing something extremely cool with a balance between flight and more traditional ground combat. That felt really cool, flying around an open world. that seemed, like it had potential. Avengers, I thought, did a really good job with its individual character kits. That game suffered from very limited scope and like really repetitive, like fight the robots in the room missions, but those character kits were really solid, and I was like, okay, I'm looking forward to new heroes. I'm having a hard time with Suicide Squad being like, oh yes, well, this thing is questionable, but like it's really got this thing, and I don't know if there is that thing. I do think gunplay is very solid, and there's a decently fun loop to it, but it isn't. Nothing about the game is jumping out to me in a way that screams like, yes, this is something I am going to really want to dive into. Like I find myself like thinking about like the Diablo 4 season and Pal World. Like what my pals are doing right now as I'm like killing Justice League members. It feels a little hollow. It feels like a game that was designed really designed around being a live service first rather than being a good game, a good campaign first and foremost, and then everything else building on top of that. Like the entire first half of the game is assembling, different base pals to upgrade your weapons, craft your weapons, give your weapons elemental affinity. Like the whole story is completely routed around like finding vendors for looter shooter crafting things, and that's like pretty much it. And then I've heard a lot of people are dissatisfied with the ending, and while I don't know exactly what happens, this is something that is set up to be like, no, you're not going to defeat Brainiac because Brainiac has to live on and keep pulling things from other universes to show up here, that you have more content to grind. And like, it's, I think at baseline, it's not going to provide a satisfying experience on that level. Like if you just end the story and it's like, that's it. Cosmetics, people are already talking about that and the pricing. It's tough to stack this next to a game like Spider-Man, where a big part of that game is how many awesome costumes that they have for you to earn in all these different ways. And as far as I know, you can earn a couple costumes, like I think through Riddler challenges, but like the store is just going to be flooded with paid costumes. And even if this is like par for the course, like for a superhero game especially, it does not feel great to be asked to pay for costumes specifically. Avengers also had this. It was also a problem for Avengers, although there were a lot more paths toward unlocking at least some free outfits there, where I haven't seen anything, nothing at all like that right now. I don't know if there will be something in the end game for earning cosmetics, but if it's 100% just behind a paywall outside of one or two, that's not great either. I don't know. I again, I don't want to fully judge it. I applaud the gaming sites that have rushed out their 8 out of 10 reviews already. Seems a bit premature for me. I don't think there's physically enough time in the last 48 hours to really put this game through its paces. I think you can get through the story campaign pretty easily, but I do think you're going to want to meaningfully engage with the end game. I'm not asking you to wait a month until the first season or whatever starts, but if this is a looter shooter and so much effort has been put into the end game grind, allegedly, that's kind of a key element. So again, I will probably finish this tonight and then start figuring out what endgame stuff is. This does not strike me as a game I'm going to be grinding a ton out of in its current form, which is kind of a bummer, but nothing is really grabbing me to be like, oh, I cannot wait to play more of this after the campaign is over. Like, I will, but probably mainly for work, when I'd rather be hanging out with my pals and catching more pals. Like, this could be transformative in the end game. Like that is not out of the realm of possibility. They could be reactive with different patches to make this thing or that thing better. Like Harley's Traversal, I would love to see a patch making that a little bit better. And then they are adding more content in time. No matter what, I will come back for the next season and Joker and whatever they're adding there. And if they can hit their milestones, like Avengers did not, if they can do a new hero, new season every 3 months to start here, that could help turn things in its favor. There's a difference between like maybe this is something that may hold my attention to like zooming out and seeing the bigger picture of like, is this going to be a hit? And I don't think it is. Like, I don't think this is surprising enough where people are going to be like, oh man, everyone was wrong. This game is awesome. And like, I think there's probably enough good in it to get everyone through a 9 hour campaign. And some may like the story, some don't. But it's got to be more than that. You really got to love something to commit to it as a live service. And I just don't know if we're going to get there. I'll have a whole thing on live service potential and whatever later, but that's just the general impression I'm getting here to start. And that's bad because that is the entire point of Rocksteady setting this up the way it did and saving so much content for the coming year and plans to work on it indefinitely from here. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.